In this video tutorial, we are going to use 4 popular machine learning classifiers, that is k-nearest neighbor, support vector machines, decision trees, and random forest. We are going to map land cover from Sentinel-2 imagery using the machine learning algorithm available in Scikit-Learn here in Geelabs. Okay, so by the end of this tutorial, you'll be able to train and evaluate these models and generate a full land cover map from Sentinel-2 data. Okay, so why use Scikit-Learn? And this is because Scikit-Learn provides a very user-friendly API which contains a number of machine learning algorithms. And we will also be using Geelabs since we have access to already pre-installed libraries. Right, so let's get started. Okay, so first we are going to install some of the libraries that are not installed. So we are going to install Rasterio and EthPy. And after that, we are going to import the libraries. Okay, so some of these libraries are already pre-installed, but we need to import them in Geelabs. So these are the libraries that we'll be importing: pandas, NumPy, Rasterio, EthPy, and then we have the various models or modules that we are going to use from Scikit-Learn. Right, we're also going to import the Seaborn library that we are also going to use for visualization. Right, so remember in the previous video that we exported our training datasets and satellite imagery to Google Drive. So first thing that we are going to do here is we're going to mount the Google Drive and make sure that you know where you stored your data set. So this is very important. So after mounting the data, our Google Drive, we're going to define the path where our data is stored. So my data sets are stored here in my drive in a folder called Bio Dataset 2024. So this contains the training data set that I derived in the previous video tutorial, that is lab 4, and also the satellite imagery, that is Sentinel-2, that are also compiled from Google Earth Engine. Right, so we are also going to define our target and predictor variables. So the target here is our land cover classes. Okay, so they are here in this column called class. And then the bands that we are going to use, these are the Sentinel-2 bands from band 2 to band 12. Right, so the classes that we are targeting are these following classes. Remember I said when we created the asset in Earth Engine, they are defined as integers. So there are 6 classes, which corresponds to Bay Area, built-up, cropland, grassland, open areas, woodland, and water. Right, so this is just the definition of the color so that we can visualize the different classes. Right, next we load the Sentinel-2 imagery, okay, from Google Drive, and then we display it. So this is the Sentinel-2 imagery for the project area. And then after that, we're also going to load the training data set, remember, which is in CSV format, the one that we created in the previous video. Okay, so this is how the training data set is. So what we are going to do here is first we import the CSV file, and then we read the file, and then we are now going to separate to define here specifically the response variable okay, or the target. So our target is going to be Y, which is the class. This means the different lane cover classes. And then the predictor variables here, they are the Sentinel-2 bands. Okay, and then this code is just checking if we don't have any missing values. Okay, remember some of the machine learning algorithms, they don't work if they have missing values. Right, after that, we are going to split the training data set, right, that we have imported. We want to split it into the data that is going to be used for training and the one that is used for testing. Okay, so that means we have to define the X-train and the X-test. So this simply means here we are separating the predictor variables, which are in X, to be the ones used for training and the others are for testing. And then the same that we do for the Y-train. So this is that's the target variable. So we are going to separate one for training, one for testing. Because so 30% in general is going to be used for testing, and 70% is going to be used for training. Right. So if we print the training samples, this is what we have. So this is the data set. So we have our Sentinel-2 bands, which are the predictors, and then we have the lane cover class here, which represents the different lane cover classes, which is the target variable. Okay, so next we just want to perform exploratory data analysis. This is very important because it allows us to gain insights into the structure and quality of the training data set before we run any classification algorithm. Right, so first we just want to check the class distribution. So we're going to call in, we're going to create a data frame, okay, which contains only the training areas, and then we are going to plot it so that we check the class distribution of the training data set. Okay, so here's the class distribution. So we have bare areas, built up, cropland, grassland, woodland, and water. And we can see that here we have an imbalanced training data set, where we have a dominant cropland and grassland. This is mainly because these are the major land cover classes in the study area. Right? These are the dominant ones, but we may also want to balance them. That will be another tutorial in the future. Right? But for the present, we are going to use these data set as the way they are distributed. And then next, we also want just to create a scatter plot so that we visualize how the data sets relate to each other. So here we are going to visualize visualize band 4 and band 8. So band 4 red and band 8 the near infrared. Okay, so this is how the data appears if we check the relationship between band 8 and band 4. We can see that quite difficult to separate the bare areas and the built-up areas. So this is quite difficult. Also, we have like some challenges also between the cropland and the bare areas. Okay, as you can see, we can see some clusters of clear separation of the water areas. Right, you can also create pairwise scatter plots that visualize how each pair of spectral bands relates to one another across the different classes. So if you run this code, you can generate this kind of figure, which looks at each relationship between each band and how it is distributed within the classes. So this is quite interesting. So you can run this kind of checks and then see how your data is distributed. If you want to gain further insights, you can also create a 3D scatter plot. For this case, I'm just doing a simple 3D scatter plot that is shows the relationship between band 2, band 4, and band 8. So blue, red, and near infrared. Okay, so we just call in this model from the MPL toolkits. Okay, so this is going to allow us to plot a 3D model. Okay, so if I run this code, it's just a simple code, nothing complicated here. We produce this kind of 3D scatter plot. So it's showing near infrared, red band, and blue band, how they are related in space. So quite a bit difficult to interpret, but as you can see, the other patterns that we're seeing, that we have the problems, maybe spectral confusion between the bare areas and mainly the built-up areas. Right, we can also go further to do our exploratory data analysis. We can use a technique which is called T-distributed stochastic neighbor. So this is called usually TSNE. Okay, so this is just a popular technique that is used for dimensional reduction. So it's useful to visualize high dimensional data only in a 2D or 3D space. Okay, so we have, for example, here a data set which have got a lot of bands. So we want to see how we can visualize this in 2D so that we can understand the challenges that we may have when we do the lane cover classification. So to produce this plot, we just call in, we import the TSNE library, and then we define the components that we want to project. So here, we only want to do a 2D plot. And then we define the perplexity, So this is usually in the range of 5 to 10. So we can tune it as we need. And then we also define the random state for reproducibility, so that we can run the code without changing anything. And we also define the number of our gradients. And then next we just fit the model, and we do our visualization. So this kind of graph takes a bit of time, depending on your data sets. So for this case, it took about 6 minutes to run. But you can do a lot of adjustments so that you can get a variety of plots in order to do the visualization. All right, so this is the result from running the TSNE module. So we can see how the training areas relate to each other. So this is quite useful because it just gives us an idea of how we can actually check the relationship between, say for example, the built-up class and the Bay Areas class. As you can see, as I said before, we have a lot of problems in this classification. So there's a bit of spectral confusion between the Bay Areas and the built-up class. So this is going to show up in the classification. And also, what is becoming apparent here is also that we also have spectral confusion between the built-up and the cropland. Okay, so this is also going to be problematic. Okay, you can see how some of these relate. So this is quite informative. It is just trying to show us, to give us a bit of insights of what we would expect when we run the final classification. So spectral confusion here is a big issue in this study area. Right. So next, we just want to also create a box plot, just to check if the distribution of the data, as well as check for outliers. Right. So this is the result of our box plot. If you check, you can see that we have a lot of the outliers. Okay. So this is the different lane cover classes for each band. Okay, so we have the bare areas built up. We have cropland. We have grass open areas. We have the woodlands and water. So for band 2 up to band 12. Okay, so from blue to shortwave near shortwave infrared band 2 here. Right, as you can see, we have lots of the outliers. So a lot of outliers for many of these lane cover classes. So that means that the range of our data set is spreading in the from the low reflectance value to high reflectance. Okay, so it means we also having issues with our data set. Our data set is not that clean, probably because we have just used data set from one season. It would be better maybe to use data from a different season, for example, rain season, post-rain season, and the dry season. At the present moment, data is only from the post-rain season, so we might be having issues here, as we have noticed with spectral confusion. Again, I think it would also be useful if we could use the Sentinel-1 SAR data here, so that maybe we may minimize this impact of the outliers. Right. So following that, we go now to build the classifier. So here we are just going to train the 4 classifiers, and that is K nearest neighbor, support vector machines, decision tree, and random forest. Remember, I've made videos about these different classifiers, I think in lab 2, so you can check out that, lab 2 or lab 3. And then, so first we have our K nearest neighbor, so we are just going to create the model for the K nearest neighbor. We are just going to define here 5 neighbors, just a simple classifier. We are also going to use the RBF here for the support vector machine. So our kernel use RBF, and the cost is just 1. Here we're just going to do a simple, just a classification. And for the decision trees, we are just going to define a very simple decision tree with the maximum depth of 10. For the random forest, we are going to have 100 forest, and we're also going to define a very simple random forest. Right. So if we run this, next we want to compare how the model perform. So we are going to evaluate each model, and then we will print the classification report. So below this is the classification report for each classifier. So the accuracy, the overall accuracy for K nearest neighbor is 81%. So this is the confusion matrix. For the support vector machine is 75%, and also this is the confusion matrix. So you can check this one in detail to see areas where we have a lot of problems. And then this is the decision tree, which is 74. And then finally this is the random forest, which is 83%. So very interesting results. The simple K nearest neighbor performing better than the support vector machines and decision trees. Right. Next, after we finish this, we are going to pick the machine learning model with the best overall performance. So the random forest was the best here. So we are going to use it to create the lane cover map. You can do each of these classifiers if you want, but for the purpose of time, I'm just picking the best model. So what we want to do now is we want to take the original image, the original satellite Sentinel-2 imagery, and then we are going to read it, and then we are also going to prepare it so that it's going to align with our model and the support, the training data that we imported. Right. So this is our satellite imagery. So Sentinel-2 with 9 bands, and we have these dimensions. And then next we want to reshape the data set so that it could be used for classification purpose. So in general, the Scikit-Learn expects the 2D array for prediction. So each row should correspond to a pixel, and each column should correspond to a band. So we need to do this reshaping of the bands. So this is the simple code to do the reshaping. So once the data is reshaped, we can now do the prediction. So we are just taking in the random forest model that we have created, and then we are taking in the satellite imagery that has been reshaped, and then we are going to run the prediction. And remember, these are then cover classes, so they are in unsigned 8-bit integer. And then following the classification, we are going also to reshape the prediction back to 2D, so we have our height and width. So after that, we just specify our lane cover classes. That is specify the color palette. Remember, we have defined the classes. We have 6 classes, and we also defined the color palette in the earlier parts of the code. So what we are going to do is just call these the palette and the classes, and then we are going to use them for displaying the lane cover classes. Right. So this is what we get with our lane cover class for our lane cover map. For the lane cover map. So we have the different lane cover classes. So Bay Area, built up, cropland, grassland, woodland, and water. And from my experience, I can see that the central part of the city. Okay, this is a city called Bulawayo in Zimbabwe. So it has done a pretty good job, as I can see. But I can see that there are other parts where we have a lot of misclassification. For example, this is some Bay Area, some Bay Rock and cropland area which have been misclassified. Same as this also shows some cropland area and Bay areas that have been misclassified. Right, then after this we can now export the classified image, that is the lane cover map. We export it to Google Drive so that you can download it and visualize in any GIS software. All right, so this has been the tutorial showing you how to do how to perform lane cover classification using different machine learning models. Right, so in this tutorial, so we have learned how to load the training data and the satellite imagery from Google Drive. And then we also explored a bit. We did a little bit of exploratory data analysis using different techniques. And then we have trained and evaluated 4 machine learning models. We also generated a land cover land cover map from using random forest model, which was the best model. And so this code, you can modify it a bit, and then you can use this to do the classification in other region. Right. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next lab, where we are going to look at regression models.